introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Dr. Bharanidharan. I recently got my PhD last year. I'm currently working as a assistant research professor, and my major is related to sustainable livestock production system. So I work on controlling emissions from livestock production. So the emissions means it includes both like methane and nitrous oxide and nitrogen emissions, everything. So I work on that, and my collaborators or my colleagues also work on making a policy up to address the nation or address the government to make some policy to decrease methane emissions from livestock. Like they visit all the farms and they collect the data and they calculate the footprint of your product, like carbon footprint and water footprint and nitrogen footprint of your products like milk and meat. So to get one glass of milk, how much carbon is consumed or how much carbon is emitted. So they make a survey like that. So we also work on that part as well.
So can you tell us a bit where are we currently in this farm, and maybe what is overall what you're doing here?
Yeah, we are currently now in our facility. As you can see here, these are Hanu animals. We call in Korean Hanu. They are the indigenous breeds of Korea. So currently we are in our research like a farm facility, and we are here we test certain compounds like chemical compounds that can decrease methane, that have been proven to decrease methane. So we got some projects to check their compounds that they can decrease methane in Hanu or not, because they have data from different types of animal breeds in European Union or US. So they want to test their compound in Hanu because the genetic difference on the rumen microbiome is totally different between Hanu and other breeds. Like based on my research, Hanu had greater abundance of methanogens. So methanogens are microbes that produce methane in the rumen. So compared to Holstein or Jersey, Hanu have a greater composition of methanogens. So they produce more methane when compared to other breeds. So during my research 3 years ago, I found that Hanu are greater emitters of methane production. So nowadays people are interested in how we can decrease methane production from Hanu. So they are testing their compounds to decrease methane.
Can you tell us maybe why this research is important for Korea but also for other countries to look into?
Yeah, livestock are a major source of protein, these days. And people, you cannot, like milk has become major protein source, and also beef have become major protein source. So, not only in Korea, especially in the global south like Africa or in India, livestock serves as a major income to many household people, like normal people. So we should also consider the impact of agriculture on atmosphere and environment. So it's very important to control the emissions from livestock production, because the future the population gonna increase, and also the demand for animal protein is gonna increase, of course. So therefore the animal numbers should also going to be increasing maybe. So you have to control emissions. Although there are some alternatives, like people are in talk, like do not increase the number of animals, but just increase the productivity of animals. If you are able to increase the productivity, you don't need to increase the animal numbers. So people are also working on that side, how to improve the productivity. So we are also doing the same kind of research, because methane emissions and productivity are equally linked together. If you are able to decrease methane emission, the animal productivity can be increased at least 2 to 3%. We have clear evidence of that, but there is no research proven that. But hypothetically, that's the theory. If you are able to decrease methane emission, you can improve the productivity of animals.
Very nice. Can you tell us maybe also what is the particular novelty or innovation that you are trying to introduce here through your research and in this particular lab? What is this new thing that you are introducing to this field?
Yeah, my lab, although we have some established products to decrease methane emission, during my PhD I wanted to discover new product or new chemical compound that can decrease methane. But these days people do not want their food to contain antibiotics or chemical compounds in their food, like milk or meat. So even to mitigate methane emissions, we feed the animal like chemical compounds or antibiotics. But you can find residues in like kind of chemical residues or antibiotic residues in your milk or meat samples. So what I and my professor was working on was to find some natural compounds like from plant source. So I screened more than 200 plant source from East Asia. So we screened for their effect to decrease methane and nitrogen emissions using in vitro techniques, and then we identified one plant extract that decreased methane for more than 60%. And then my PhD was on that. So we tested the plant extract using the live animals, and then we are able to find like using animals it was able to decrease just 20%. So that was my PhD, and we are working on that one. And we also have a project like we are the only group in Korea that we are working on like calculating the last I said in the previous the before I said like they are calculating the footprint nitrogen and carbon footprint of entire Korea. So we visited more than 120 farms, not me but my colleagues, more than 120 farms, and they collected data and they are calculating and they are making some proposals to the government how can we decrease methane emission and what strategies we can do to decrease emissions from livestock production. That's what we are doing in our laboratory.
Maybe can you recognize one thing or more throughout your research that you can say that you are very proud about as a result of your own work or collective work that you did with your colleagues, something that you can remember and say, yes, I'm very proud for this achievement I have done?
Yes, I could say that one thing that's related to my research because Hanu is the major population of beef cattle in Korea. Like they are around 3.7 million heads we have in Korea. Only less other than 0.5 million are Holstein, I think. Less than 0.5 million. So the major protein source is Hanu. So the major beef source is Hanu. But so far there have been no researches related to like they did not compare the methane emission intensity of Hanu with other breeds. So we are the first one in our laboratory. We compared the methane production intensity between Holstein and Hanu. Those are the two major beef cattle in Korea, and we were able to find that Hanu are greater emitters of methane. And also we characterize the microbial profile because we take the samples from the rumen and we analyze the microbiome, and we were able to find that they possess more ethanogen, abundance of methanogen. And I'm proud of that because we are the first one to report that. And also we worked on like mitigating methane nitrogen emissions, and also we wanted to decrease the slaughter age of the Hanu because usually the slaughter age is 30 months. So because if you're raising the animal for 30 months and they emit a lot of nitrogen, because compared to methane, nitrous oxide emissions have more global warming potential, like more than 28 times. It's very huge. Like carbon dioxide, when you compare relative to carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide is 28 times more potent than carbon dioxide for the greenhouse effect. So nitrous oxide emissions these are related to nitrogen emissions anyway. So we wanted to decrease the slaughter age so that we can decrease the nitrous oxide emissions from the animal farm. So we try to improve the feed quality in the early stage of animal life, and we try to achieve the productivity of animals earlier than 30 months of age. So we recently did a research like that, and we found like in 27 months of age we were able to achieve the productivity that we could usually achieve at 30 months. But we didn't quantify the nitrous oxide emissions because we don't have the facility to quantify nitrous oxide emissions in here. But we can hypothesize that if we are able to decrease the slaughter age, we can decrease nitrogen or nitrous oxide or any nitrogen related emissions. We did that as well.
Maybe one question that I would like to ask your critical opinion or thinking as a person and as a scientist. There is a lot of arguments connected with climate change and greenhouse gas emissions and how the animal industry is contributing to that, and how maybe most of these are promoting like a reduction of the meat consumption than these type of innovations, and more, nowadays we also have the promotion of alternatives, like, from soya-based products and so on. What is your position in that? How do you see the industry evolving over the next years, and what do you think that is potentially the best way for us to consider in this type of challenges and also the transition forward?
Yeah, that's a very important question. People started to argue that why don't we turn vegan to decrease the emissions from the agriculture sector, like related to livestock. But it doesn't work that way. Like, Earth is composed of more than 70% or 80% is composed of cellulose. The plants is cellulose. It's totally cannot be consumed by humans. So these animals, they consume cellulose and they convert them into a product that can be consumed by humans. So you cannot just ignore or just omit the livestock systems and just turn to vegan. So what will you do with the cellulose source? These are the only things that can convert cellulose to milk or meat that can be consumed by humans. So but still we need a lot of research to decrease emissions from livestock. So even 5 days ago, the IPCC, they released their assessment report. So every 4 years they release their report, and the recent report was released 4 days ago. And also they said that in last 3 million years, it took 3 million years for the globe to increase at 2.5 degrees Celsius. It took 3 billion years in the past, but IPCC predicted that in 80 years you can expect increase in 3.5 degrees Celsius. So it's because of industrial revolution and also because of livestock production. So from now we have to invest a lot of fund to mitigate emissions from all the sectors, not only livestock, even machineries or industries. You have to, just you cannot ignore the animals. It's just we are trying our best to find some product to decrease emissions. And also we are building some strategies that we are proposing to the government, some strategies to decrease emissions as well.
And maybe one final question, from your view as a scientist, that you have really worked for so many years in this field and you have a more holistic view, how do you see the future? Are you optimistic? Are you think things will be better for overall the world when we talk about sustainable development and climate change and all these new things that the research now is coming up? What are your feelings for the future? Are you optimistic that things will be...
Yes, I am optimistic, and we are spending a lot of energy and money to find a strategy that can decrease methane or what sort of emissions from agriculture. And I'm optimistic. And even the new Korean government, they have a target net zero. They are aiming at becoming a zero carbon country in 2050. And they have their immediate target for 2030 that they are planned to decrease 37% emissions from all the sectors. So they have made a roadmap to achieve that results. So everybody are working together to decrease emissions from all the sectors. So I'm very much optimistic because there are promising compounds and products coming out that could decrease emissions. So maybe near 10 years, we could see something. Like a better product or better strategies to decrease methane emissions.
Any final message for our community or overall for the public?
No, but I just want cooperation with the public. All the scientists all over the world, they are working hard to find something, to develop a strategy or propose a theory that could decrease emissions from all the sectors. So I want them to understand that we are working on that. So people also should consider their role in decreasing methane or what sort of emissions, carbon emissions from even household sector. Start using public vehicles, not their own cars or something like that. So people should also think, not only, it's not the job of scientists or the policymakers, people should also think about that.
So this is the change you want to see in the world, probably.
In the future,
Very nice. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.